Hey, it's Alicia Stringer here, and I am doing this for the Lion's Den. And today, for share your heart inside of pure holiness with your speech. So we're going to talk about how you can use your speech and devotion for the Lord. And this one is, there's lots of great verses that you share that really helps you focus on keeping the purity with the Lord. One of them is Zephaniah 3:9. For then I will return to the peoples with pure language, and they will call upon the name of the Lord and serve him with one accord. So when we think about the words we use, we need to focus on purity, right? And in James 3 is a great chapter to learn about how it describes the tongue. And when we lose our tongue, there's really like a couple of different ways. Like there's lies and then the bad words. And some people might think, just if you don't say those bad words, then you're okay, right? Anyone can do this. You can have a pure heart, pure language with your heart. But James describes a little bit more detail, that it's a little bit more than a handful of just words. There's lots of principles that you can violate with your words. And so in Matthew 12:36 and 37, Jesus shares the impact on the words on our hearts. And it can really justify and condemn our hearts in the words that we speak. But I tell you, everyone, to give account to the day of judgment every empty word they have spoken. For your words will be acquitted, by your words you will be condemned, right? So to a Christian, you want to not just path on nothingness. Our words really do have meaning, and they show power, and they leave a mark. And therefore, be careful with what you say. That we want to have a pure words flow and pure heart that shows right from how we encourage one another with righteousness activity, and not with profane or filthy language, right? And 1 Timothy 4:7 has nothing to do with godliness myths or old wives' tales. Rather, train yourself to be godly. And 1 Timothy 6:20, Timothy, guard what has been entrusted in your care. Turn away from godless chatter, for the opposing ideas is falsely called knowledge. And 2 Timothy 2:6, avoid godless chatter, because those who indulge in it will become more and more ungodly. So talking to words, you ought to have meaning to it, because you can easily degrade any reference to God, right? So whenever you use God as a variation or take the Lord's name in vain, some people just use it light and reverent in any way and don't really use the Lord's name in respect. So there are things that the God should be sacred, and profanity really degrades it. And in Matthew 6:9, it shares the Lord's name in vain. And it shares an example of exactly when he gave the example of how we should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And it's really shown respect in a respectful way, right? So it's highly and reverent. And we shouldn't use his name in a common way, and usually comes out maybe in anger or a common flippant idea, and it can place in respect or in I want to say like intentions of maybe in vain. So like a lot of the OMG, people are just using it casually, and they're taking, could be used for oh my God, and it's taking it God's name in vain. So I've refrained from really saying that phrase a lot, because I don't want to use it in the wrong way. And in Acts 4:12, Peter speaks in the name of Jesus, word regarded to holy, not because you're frustrated with someone. The salvation is found in no one else, and there is no other name in heaven given to mankind which should be saved. And in 2 Peter 2:10 through 11, God describes the character and how they're to the spiritual realm. Revealing angelic means, spiritual realities, make nothing holy but accountable, blaspheming, demeaning way. So this is those who are corrupt in the flesh and despise authority. So make sure that you're using it in a reverent way. Like going back to the whole aspect, back in John 1:1. In the beginning was Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was God. So going back to really where it came from. Not only holy thoughts, the language reflects that. Recognize that it belongs to God and hold that in respect. Like in Ephesians 5, we should be a child of God and be simple and sound, and really the vulgarity can cross over into our spiritual reality. So don't be involved in just crude discussions and sexual immorality. This goal is not just avoiding the words, but just the whole meaning and the God gave subjects for inappropriate language, just like in dirty jokes as well. So what about the excuse when people are saying, oh, I'm just really mad or I'm really passionate about something? But really, as a child of God, you should not be so mad that you're out of control of your tongue. You should always have the fruit of the Spirit and be in position to be in control. It's wrong because, God heard it, right? Not just because of who you're around. He's around us all the time. And in Colossians 3:8, but also rid yourself of such things such as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips. The classic verse right there, right? Filthy talk flies in the face of everything you are to be. So living is putting on Christ. Sometimes more euphemisms or mold expressions or saying word without saying a word. It's the same way. So, in speaking of the cuss words, even saying different four-letter words or something in exchange for it may still have the same intention. So be sure that if you're intending to say like a cuss word, is still in the intention of a cuss word. It's like the same type of language. So be aware of that, that you're doing that. Just Matthew 12:36. But I'll tell you that everyone will still have to give account to the day of judgment for the empty word they have spoken. God is more concerned about, the short list of what is intended with our words. So God condemns those that have even spoken a curse or heard a bad expression, dang or geez. What expression do you really leave? Thinking about, the pure of heart of what your speech and language should be. So remove from your vocabulary all the profane speech. And remember James 3:6. The tongue is a fire, a word of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and itself is set on fire by hell. And remember Isaiah 6:5. Woe to me, Lord, I am ruined. I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among people of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. Are you a child of God? The Lord has provided mercy. Blessed, thankfully.